Puzzle! Hello everybody, I'm in a circle because that's what you do when you start videos. You emerge from the center of Marvel Contest of Champions puzzle, where MCOC should be, but that doesn't really count because the fact is, this is all about question marks associated with Marvel Contest of Champions. Let's get into this video. And yeah, I'm doing it again. I'm doing one of these videos. I just feel that I didn't really put as much effort into the last ones that I've done, but this one I spent several more hours researching different tie-ins with comic book story arcs, things that Kabam have alluded to, thinking logically and also illogically, and the whole kind of paradigm of Kabam's red herring paradox, which is a thing. Now before the video kicks off, please consider hitting the like button. It does really help out the channel, especially at times when you put loads of effort and hours into making a video and not many people get to see it. So thank you, that would be great. And as well, go to the comments section, as I will be interacting with a lot of you. If you think that I've got something wrong, then let me know. It'd be cool to find out the feedback, and it'd be interesting to read your suggestions as well. But let's get into this video. First of all, let's start in the bottom left-hand corner with Fantomex and Dakin. With most artwork that you see nowadays, Fantomex seems to fit better with associations with Psylocke, with X-Force version of Wolverine, as well as Deadpool, X-Force and Archangel. I think from the perspective of creating and finishing off this X-Force team, it seems to fit better, especially with what Kabam could do with the kind of Ava character, where this kind of like being is inside Fantomex and comes out and does so many different things. There's something to play about with in abilities that could be really amazing, so I think that's definitely going to be a thing. I'm also sticking with my suggestion of Dakin, but removing that whole kind of thing about Mystique, because let's face it, that's been talked about. Kabam have tried it, doesn't seem to be working so far. It may be a change in the future, but I don't think it is really there. But I really would like and to think that with a link down from X-Men Blue, which we'll talk about in a minute, it could be Dakin. On the subject of X-Men Blue, I've put Jean Grey there. Yes, you might be saying, Rich, we already have Jean Grey. No, we don't. We have Phoenix and we have Dark Phoenix, which are just up here. But I think Jean Grey definitely has some kind of pull to be in that question mark. And before, I've gone for Professor X, and actually the more that I thought about it and researched it, the more that I'm going away from that theory. Now, the terminology of X-Men Blue, it does really say that, okay, that's a comic book arc that they may be exploring. And if it is indeed a case that they'll be going down that route, then it really points to a younger version of Jean Grey, who is in fact the leader of X-Men Blue, or the X-Men at that time based on this story arc. All the characters are there to pinpoint that this indeed could be Jean Grey being the leader, and I'd love to see a Jean Grey character in game, because we don't really have it in game. Telekinesis powers, tapping into all different types of things that she wouldn't as the Phoenix or Dark Phoenix. So yes, I'd love to see this, and I do think this is a better fit than Charles Xavier or Professor X. Over to the left of this, now I do feel very strongly about this. As we know, Guillotine 2099, Elsa Bloodstone are in the game at the moment. The Braddock Academy and something in association with a character associated with that could be a thing. Captain Britain is always a character and a champion I'd love to see in game, but it's been one of these things where I'm not sure if we'll ever see something like it. Where my story sort of shifts is based on Spider-Gwen. Now, I have been largely not thinking about this and sleeping on this idea for a little while, in that I should be looking at villains or characters associated with Spider-Gwen, especially the recent comic book runs of the last 5 years. But obviously what I should consider is the fact Silk could be a good fit as an enemy villain that Spider-Gwen has to face off against. And especially saying in the same month, imagine if she faces off against the villains, not just Silk, but also Kraven the Hunter. There's been so many people calling out for this to be a champion. I can imagine with hype, Kabam may look to some logical placements of both characters hitting into the game. Where things change with logical placement is with Mojo and as well Longshot. Part of me was thinking, because the X-Men Blue actually have this kind of Mojo universe, Mojo world kind of link, that would be that character. But it's difficult to then put Longshot to have association with anything that is not X-Men related. But again, this could be a Kabam red herring to say that, hey, we put a question mark here, there and everywhere, and it's actually out of sync, and when we do a new puzzle, all the question marks line up with how they should be. So we've kind of just gone off the scent, Rich. But in any case, everything is subject to change as to where I put it, and as well, let's face it, Kabam will probably put out a puzzle updated next month, and I'll have to do this video again. But in any case, let's move on. Going up from Black Widow and then going further up is Red Guardian and a different variant suit of Black Widow. With the upcoming film, I'm sure that Kabam want to capitalize on this as being one of the biggest ones out of the block for the MCU being Kickstarter. Even though it's not a direct linking over from any kind of film, the fact is it will tell a story, and as well with that story really means the opportunity to put new champions in. Up here, as you can see, I've put characters like Nova, which is kind of close to the New Warriors, which I think ties in better. And as well, I've put Squirrel Girl below with Mole Man on top, which is kind of weird because they had a love triangle thing. But I just feel that the tie-in is better this way based on where certain champions should be. I don't know if this is any kind of like bearing or association, but there was a television show called The Superhero Squad, and in an episode From the Atom It Rises, he helps Doctor Doom and MODOK and Abomination in a plot to use an underground area dug up by Moleman's Moloids in a plot to use the Infinity Fractal to control a black hole. God, that Moleman's a real case, isn't he? Either way, this could be a red herring with these champions actually being more associated with comic book lore or maybe the in-game story, which could take all these question marks and jumble them up. Either way, we go on to our next question mark, which is entropy. All information as well as the cutscene stuff has been very quiet. As you know, if you follow the game, this has been a thing for a long time. Entropy was kind of teased back along, and whether or not it would be a champion or have a bigger kind of impact on the battle realm, the contest and other stuff is something that we're still yet to find out. And obviously, based on Otrok's recent data mining, information about the next act may point to something of the union between either a marital union or maybe it's a union of different characters that will be linking together, which we'll talk about in a minute, but as well Doombots need to be added to the puzzle as well. So could this be entropy, or is it going to be a case that there will be a different thing that finishes off Act 6.4? We're literally like 1 week away from finding out, so it's still going to be very exciting to see what happens and how this act and story mode and story quest with the Elders finishes. Now, the biggest bone of contention will probably be the bottom right hand corner, and there's probably Doombots to add to this situation, changing the dynamic of where we link off from the Silver Surfer, yes, to Mr. Fantastic, and again, will it be to something else, like should it be Doctor Doom with the Doombots? That is something that I do think is a thing, but there's obviously going to be added champions to put in there in the coming 3 months. And of course, with this still image taken from the 5th anniversary trailer, we know that Mephisto has a hand in some sort of work with the Watchers, or maybe he's manipulating the Watchers when it comes to work with the Marvel Realm of Champions and how that links in as well. Which goes further to include some sort of work that Galactus will play in whatever's happening, and whether or not the union is between either Mr. Fantastic and Galactus, it's between Doctor Doom and Mr. Fantastic, or it's between the Watcher and Mephisto, or maybe Mephisto with Galactus. Either way, the union to me seems to be something very, very critical that will be to open up Marvel Realm of Champions, or maybe a threat that is coming from Realm of Champions that is going to come into the Battle Realm. Either way, I think this is going to play a huge part into what happens with both games interworking together. Also, not to mention the way that Terex as another Herald of Galactus could play into it. And I do feel there may be a couple more Heralds in the future. You know, we've got Firestar, there's so many other Heralds of Galactus still not mentioned, and as well not in game. So expect that to be expanded, and as well who opens up the links, the portals between different types of games. So Marvel Realm of Champions and Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, the astute among you will notice that I have missed off talking about certain question marks, and I even feel that they're too obscure from the champion, they're not linked, so it makes it difficult to guess. Like the same way that we've got over by Mr. Moon Knight, that there is a question mark. Well, that could be absolutely anybody. Sort of off association, a villain maybe, but that would be more of a link to that question mark, but it isn't. And as well, you've got ones like down here. Well, why is this one in red? Is there a significance that when this champion is into game, that it'll be able to have a link to this champion, and then we'll be able to get into Marvel Realm of Champions? Those are still things that need to be put in place. And also champions, the next 6 champions will be crucial as to how the story changes between the point of MCOC ending its Act 6.4 to how it's starting off to announce and get into Marvel Realm of Champions. But my time has come to an end to talk about this puzzle, and I feel I've addressed a lot of question marks as best as I possibly can with better research than I've done in the last few times that I've done this type of video. Now I welcome you in the comment section to have your say on what champions you feel based on these question marks are best suited. Obviously you can go obscure, you can keep with comic book knowledge, it's absolutely up to you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Check out some of my other content here, which will probably be some fresh content, and as well check out some supporting links over here. Second channel, and also it's my YouTube membership. If you want to support, that'd be great. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now. And I would love to see a Jean Gay